This episode of Bartholomew Town is brought to you by the University of Rhode Island Online, Newport Film, Navigant Credit Union, Half Street Group, and Health Source RI for employers.
Bartholomew Town.
Welcome into Bartholomew Town. I'm Bill Bartholomew. Always a great pleasure to spend some time together. Coming up at the Wilbury Theater Group, which if you're not familiar with, get familiar with it because it is an important asset here in our creative and overall community. But the first show of the upcoming season, From Here to Where, it's a world premiere by Bert Krenka and his band, the Gillen Street Ensemble. Every week, Bert and his band meet at his house, which is a converted Italian-American club. They have dinner and they jam. And look, some of that communal vibe is going to be recreated right at the Wilbury. There'll be dancing, poetry, and a huge dangling skeleton. At least that's what they tell me. Cliff Wood is a saxophonist and a member of the band. And you're also a former director of arts, culture, and tourism for the city of Providence. Cliff, thanks so much for your time and welcome back. What are the origins of the ensemble and your relationship with Bert Krenka,
Bill. Thanks for having
for
me.
those that
It's
don't
always
know,
nice to see
the
you.
founder of AS220 and just a major pioneer here in our community, one of the visual artists that I think defines Providence in a lot of ways. How did you get involved in all this?
Well, I've known Bert since actually before I moved here in 1997. He's one of the first people that took my call, and I was curious to come to Providence. I had no idea that he was who he was. I certainly learned, and we've been close friends ever since. I've played with Bert off and on in different ensembles over the last 25 or 30 years. And we had a regular thing. Bert and Susan, his wife Sue Clausen, another founder of AS220, at the house that you described, has jams. They have a basement, which they converted. It used to be a bar and a bocce court, and they turned it into a music studio and a weight room. And so we would go over there informally, as a lot of other people have over the years. When Bert retired from AS220, I would go over there and hang out, and we would run tunes. And we got another jam started, and that sort of just was what they had been, just social. And then COVID came, and that got shut down. And when COVID was over, we were all certainly itchy to get back, and we went back, and we were playing. A few of us were playing, and Bert asked if we would mind if he introduced some spoken word to the jams that we were doing. And it's his house, man. So we said yes, and that kind of turned into a show over time. We sort of brought new members in. It became a regular weekly thing, except Wednesdays. So we kind of became a social unit. Beyond just a sort of a performing group. And we developed a piece out of Bert's written word, multimedia, sort of your 60s happening kind of thing. There's movement and music, 3D art. And we did a one-off at the Wilbury. Josh asked Bert. It was coincided with an opening he did at the Waterfire Center. We filled the place up. It was received very, very well. Josh asked us if we would expand that into something that could become a run at the theater, and we did. And it'll be just about 2 years on the nose, and we're going to open up in a couple of
lyrical sermon, part political exorcism, and part late-night jam session. From Here to Where is an ensemble-driven living composition that confronts questions of existence, power, and transformation. That's the description I've got in front of me. That's pretty heavy. How do you extrapolate jam sessions and community and put it into really posing and hopefully assessing some of these major questions?
I think it lands perfectly. Our interrelationship with each other and the universe is a perfect place to come out of a sort of a jam. This piece is a mix of sort of through composed and written work and choreography, along with a lot of improvisation. So you'll never see the show twice. And it sort of starts at an individual place in Bert, and then really works its way through collectively into the universal. These sort of big questions. I don't know if we answer them, but we definitely ask them, and we ask them in all kinds of ways to be processed consciously, subconsciously. And it's also an opportunity to be together at this theater, like you mentioned. We've had such a great time with Wilbury already, really a fantastic theater. We really respect their interest in sort of pushing the envelope. And I think a multimedia expression
you're definitely no
at a
stranger to
theater
the
is
Providence
a
art scene. You
great way to
performed at PVD
push that
Fest this
envelope, and we
past
appreciate
weekend,
the
which was
invitation.
in and of itself, you can look at it from a lot of different ways. The bottom line is that people are out and about in the city in one way, shape, or form, taking in various aspects of our community. Right now, from your seat, what do you think the biggest challenge facing Rhode Island's arts community is?
Like anything else, it's always about funding. This time is especially oppressive for things that we consider to be progressive, whether it's clean energy or arts and culture, especially the way that we do it in Providence, which is very multicultural. I mean, this group I played with, City MIGA, and the bridge where we meet on Friday. I've been with City for a very long time. He's a member of the African community here, but reaches all, his tentacles reach far and wide, as do Bert's. And then I think a lot of them and us have built our careers in the arts around inclusivity and doing things together. And that right now is a difficult thing, especially when it comes to funding. That's always been the case. But I think that it's also our strength. So in as much as that we're all suffering through hopefully what is hopefully a temporary bout of insanity culturally, we're here hanging tough with each other. And
Yeah, I
I
think
think
so
that's
too.
our
And I think
strength, and I
the
think that's what's going to push us
there's a
forward here in
great act of
Providence and in
resistance
our
taking
country.
place amongst artists and arts communities right now that is not, hey, let's wake up in the morning, think about the state of the world, think about the state of the country, think about the state or the city, and then let's go make art. It's just by continuing to make art and by enhancing those connections, those collaborations, and ultimately the works that come out. That is the act of resistance that a lot of people are looking for. It also serves as a mirror for folks that maybe aren't artistically inclined and are looking for something to try to make sense of the universe in a moment of chaos. What kind of responsibility as an artist do you feel right now to sort of just keep moving, keep at it, and serve as that mirror?
I think you're absolutely right, Bill. This is actually, without overstating, it is an act of resistance. Just showing up is an act of resistance, whether you're performing or whether you're listening, whether you're thinking. Everybody who recognizes this as such is a thinking person. And I think that any way that you can express yourself, either directly or indirectly through being around other people, this is the way. Show up in community. Arts are a radical act. I mean, and we talk about this when times are easy. We talk about it when we're trying to raise money, about art and all that, how important it is. But now, the rubber's hitting the road a bit. And for myself personally, this has been not only an act of self-expression and an act of community, but an act of keeping my mental health on track, an act of keeping my physical health on track, an act of keeping something that's focused, and an act of being solid in myself as I work with other people in the community to make sure that we know that
Yeah,
there's a
I,
future
I
for us,
completely agree with
regardless of
that.
how
What's
things
the
feel on any
right
given
now? What's
Wednesday,
your
Tuesday,
read
or Thursday.
on that I've been inside the house that you have these jams at Bert's converted Italian American club. It's pretty amazing. You go down, you see where the bocce courts were, and you described it really well. There's a gym there and this amazing practice space. A lot of people aren't feeling like they have any chance to have a physical infrastructure to make their art. We see what's happening with Atlantic Mills. Candidly, there's a lot of uncertainty around the arts building that I live in right now. It's been announced that the building is for sale, and you start to look around and say, "Well, where do you go?" There's not a whole lot of options. You're a veteran of this and a lot of aspects of what happens in a city. What do you think if Mayor Smiley's hearing this right now and we've got buildings for sale? Obviously, Bert, his model has been buy the facility, whether that's AS220 or the Italian American Club that you're based out of. But what can the city do to try to just create a physical sense of place for artists to work without intervening and literally buying buildings and either renting or giving them away?
Well, I would say a couple things, but one, we talk about Bert and Sue's house, which is a wonder of the world, honestly. But that's their home. We mentioned I played with City this weekend, and we rehearsed in studio in his home. And they're not multi-million-dollar investments. They took a part of their home and created a space where people can play, not just for themselves either. City lends his space out to my daughter's band who plays. Bert has opened and Sue have opened their home. So first of all, you can just do this where you are, and I'm going to just shout you out too. I know you're a musician, and you make that a priority. You know, you're a multidimensional person, and
That's right.
you're in your studio right now, which is also a studio where you play, right? So you can make art any place, and I'm definitely all about reclaiming the Kennedy Center when we can get our hands on that again. But in the meantime, you can do art at any place. You can do it in your car, you can do it in your basement, and you can do it any place where you can be with other people, be by yourself, and you can perform art. You can do anything you want, any place you want. So don't feel like you need somebody, some big brother, a government to give you a place to express yourself. Beyond that, talking to the mayor, hi mayor, I would just say with that same mentality, I know things are challenging and it's a lot of work to try to keep a city running under these conditions. Under any conditions over the last 50 years, it's been very difficult. Most recently, very, very difficult. So I would say I would say empower people and think in a short-term way in that what can we get now? How can we take 3 months, 6 months, a year to borrow a space, to give people access to a space, to promote a space, right? Remind people that this is going on every day. And we can let people know that government is a great place to promote the ideals, of a community, and the mayor's office on the second floor of City Hall has always been a great place to make those announcements and make that clear to the public.
Bartholomew Town.
Are you ready to take the next step in your career? URI Online offers business and leadership-focused programs designed to fit your life. Whether your goal is to advance in your career in fields like public administration, supply chain management, or training and development, their online programs provide the flexibility you need with the high-quality education you deserve. Learn more from experienced faculty and collaborate with a network of professionals, all from the comfort of your home or wherever life takes you. Visit uri.edu/online to explore programs and start building your future today. URI Online. Learn anywhere with us. As Rhode Island's first ever member-owned credit union, Navigant Credit Union has been a staple in the local business community for more than 108 years. Today, Navigant is a $3.4 billion institution serving more than 136,000 members across 25 physical branch locations. But since its founding in 1915, the mission has never changed. Navigant Credit Union's team of financial professionals have remained committed to improving the financial well-being of the families, businesses, and communities they serve across Rhode Island. Learn more at navigantcu.org.
At HealthSource RI for Employers, we provide access to health insurance to more than 1,200 local businesses and nonprofits, and 96% of them renew through us every year. Maybe it's our choice of 19 different health plans, our more than 10 years of customizing solutions, or our one local team of dedicated experts helping employers find quality health and dental insurance. See how our numbers stack up for you. Learn more at healthsourceri.com/employers.
We're brought to you in part by Newport Film. Make sure you check out their indoor film screening series by visiting newportfilm.com. Half Street Group brings a new generation's perspective to leadership communications, strategic public relations, and digital marketing. Half Street helps organizations and leaders take control of their own stories and manage their reputations. They get results for their clients by focusing on audience, message, and culture, and by leveraging their decade-long relationship with media and opinion leaders in the Ocean State and throughout New England. Join me and Half Street Group founder and president Mike Rea for a conversation every month about news of the day, the hottest media analysis, and a look behind the scenes at how impactful leaders drive conversations. Learn more at halfstreetgroup.com. Yeah, I've been waiting for the follow-up to the report that came out last year, which was that, and look, this includes parking, this includes a lot of different aspects of the economic picture, but Providence generated nearly $1 billion in revenue in the nightlife economy. And so my question is, all right, well, we want to make strategic investments in our community in areas that we see any kind of progress, particularly economic. So when is the city going to start to invest more into its arts, culture piece? And I think, like you said, you can create anywhere. There's no question. But, I just wonder, there's models like Austin, Texas, where there's actually an Office of Music that's a government agency. I'm not sure if we should have that here or not, but I wonder if there's enough exploration of how we can better serve not only the artists in the community, but then the community as a whole. And for those that are just looking at it through dollar signs, I mean, we're talking about $1 billion a year. There's not a whole lot of industries that are doing that.
Right. Well, I'd point first to our public spaces, right? Because certainly while the weather's good, which is for enough time here, those are free venues, right? So all you need to do there is to make sure that you have what the artists need. Like we just had PVD Fest, right? Think about that at different scales, right? You can do that once a year as a big blowout, which is fun, and that's a big economic generator. I'm sure there was a lot of beer and pizza sold as a result of that, and hopefully other economic activity, right? So it's interrelated, which is why it's important to have it in the downtown, for instance, something that big. But also at different scales in different parts of the city or the state or the country, we can do those things in our public spaces and our borrowed spaces. And that's a short-term way to deal with the combination of things that money is tight, but art is critical. So right off the rip, we can do that. And then you can do longer-term planning about, what does the city have over a 5-year arc, say? How can we invest over a 5-year arc? That's a way to have a conversation that's sort of maybe less harried. I know people are very anxious, but if you look at an arc, you can see how we can get there. And I'll just refer back. You were kind enough to remember some ancient history when I was the first director of the city's Department of Arts, Culture, and Tourism. At the time, David Cicilline was mayor, and he was really, really amazing to work for in the context that he allowed us the latitude to get out there, work with other people, partner with other organizations, partner in the community, partner with the other departments, partner in the public spaces. You just have to keep that churn going and then have that long-term vision, as I mentioned before.
You're spot on there. Last question, just before kind of once again hyping what's happening in the Wilbury, which is easy to do because it's such an awesome operation over there. But your message right now, as just somebody who's in it, you've found a way to live a life in the arts. I think a lot of people are discouraged more and more because of what seems like shifting trends with, for music, a lot of people say, well, if I'm not like dominating on Spotify or TikTok, then my career is useless. I mean, you and I both sit in a position in terms of our music. It's a vital thing. It's a lifeline. It's a connection. It's something to take enormously seriously. I have no idea how many hits I have on my TikTok when it comes to music. So reframing the conversation, just getting back to the arts for people who are looking at, especially younger people who are getting discouraged. I see that way too often. Oh man, I didn't get enough streams on Spotify. Yeah, but your song is amazing and somebody's going to hear this and their life is going to change. Right. What's your message to those folks?
Well, I mean, I would just pull this back from even being concerned about social media. I know it's part of the formula. I know it's part of the culture. I'm old, so I maybe don't take it as hard as some other people do. But one thing that I have done, and I'm very happy about it, and you do it again as well, we're multidimensional creatures as human beings, right? And I'll paraphrase Kurt Vonnegut, who said, do art. As well or as poorly as it comes out, it doesn't really matter, right? So if it happens that you do art and you wind up on a stage or you wind up getting a lot of clicks or you wind up being Taylor Swift, that's fantastic. But that's not really the medicine. Like, to me, the medicine is having this in your life, period, and what comes of it. And I've been lucky in as much as sometimes it's frustrating because you want to play at a certain level if you're driven to do that. But I've had this as a side part of my career, a side part, as a way I've made money. I've made money from it, but it's not required. So as a result, I've been able to keep music for myself in a way that is medicine, right? That's an opportunity to share. So, it depends on what your goals are. But never judge what you do externally, right? Even David Bowie even said, don't play to the audience. Play to what is in you, right? Do your thing, man. Do your thing, and what comes of it, comes of it. And I promise you that if you're driven to do it and you don't repress that urge to do it and you do it, it will reward you in many ways, maybe through clicks, but there are so many more ways to find a rewarding way to live through art.
Could not agree more. From Here to Where, the book by Burt Krenka, music by the Gillen Street Ensemble. It plays at the Wilbury Theater Group September 18th through October 5th. This is going to be awesome. I recommend people head to the Wilbury's website, which I want to make sure I have correct. It is, I think it's a .org. Yep, thewilburygroup.org. And you can find out all the information there. Cliff Wood, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Bill. I just want to give a quick shout. Josh Short and his team at the Wilbury, the best.
Yeah, they're crushing it. And you talk about, defying expectations and redefining the conversation around what's possible here in our own community. They're a piece of that and a major one. So could not agree more.
Thanks, Bill.
At HealthSource RI for Employers, we provide access to health insurance to more than 1,200 local businesses and nonprofits, and 96% of them renew through us every year. Maybe it's our choice of 19 different health plans, our more than 10 years of customizing solutions, or our one local team of dedicated experts helping employers find quality health and dental insurance. See how our numbers stack up for you. Learn more at healthsourceri.com/employers.